Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome you all here to Parliament House for the 2019 Debating Essay Grand Final Debates. Today represents the combination of hard work, lunchtime planning sessions, evenings huddled around the desk, or family table preparing and rehearsing, practicing the lounge room out aloud, writing frantically in the way to debates in the car, skipping class lessons to research topics, and so we'd like to say thank you to the parents and teachers for supporting the students this season. This year we've had a record number of participants enter our competition. We've seen 278 teams representing some 62 schools and the introduction of Glenunga International as another host school. Debating Essay teaches all participants the value of debating. We believe it's important to define, discuss, deliver, deliberate and debate on an array of subjects, and this year we've put that to the test. In 2019, we've seen Year 8 students debate on topics such as the importance of the State of the Union speech, the ban on Uluru, pill testing at music festivals, the costs of organic foods, Matt Horton's protests, and the use of reservoirs in South Australia. At Debating Essay, we believe that debating has profound and lasting benefits for all students participating. It helps them develop their speaking skills, construct well-reasoned arguments, and their ability to express themselves verbally in front of a room full of people, such as all you lovely audience members here today. According to Debbie Newman, founder and director of the Noisy Classroom, a website and training organisation dedicated to promoting listening and public speaking skills in schools, debating builds students' critical listening skills and their ability to respond to what other people are saying. And today, we will sit to witness this firsthand. We wish to let everyone know that our grand final presentation will be held at Sacred Heart College, Marcel campus, on Friday the 1st of November from 5 to 6 p.m. The Governor, His Excellency, the Honourable Hugh Van Lay, will be presenting the awards and medallions to all participants here today. Before we begin, we must first recognise the individuals who helped us, not only to make this competition possible, but to the people who've allowed us to use this fine establishment for our grand final debates. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Honourable Vincent Tarzia, MP and Speaker of the House of Assembly, for allowing us to use this chamber. Debating Essay is extremely grateful to him and his colleagues for facilitating the use of Parliament House for all our debates today. Secondly, I'd like to thank our Training and Development Officer, Sonia Lohan, and our Administration Officer, James Tran, for their unwavering commitment to making this competition the success that it is and the talk of the town. This competition wouldn't be the success it is today without their hard work. And lastly, I'd like to thank our pool of adjudicators. Our adjudicators are the volunteers and the lifeblood of this organisation. They are the faces you've seen each night, giving feedback, taking notes and awarding debates. If anyone here is interested in adjudicating or joining our family of adjudicators, please see Sonia, James or myself at any point during the day. Today we will be filming the debates and sharing all the photos on Facebook. If you take any photos, you're more than interested to do so, please tag us on Facebook, #DebatingSA. Thank you very much, and I wish all the debaters the very best in today's debate. Madam Chair, the floor is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2019 Year 8 Division Debating Essay Grand Final Debate. My name is Priory, and I am the chairman for this debate. The timekeeper is Sarah. The topic of this debate is that the digital tracking of children is good parenting. The affirmative team seated to my right is from Glenunga International High School, consisting of the first speaker, Sienna Mason, second speaker, Isha Jane, third speaker, Isaac Jacobs. The negative team seated to my left is from St. Dominic's Priory School, consisting of first speaker, Anya second speaker, Madeleine Dungy, and third speaker, Helena Newland. The grand final debate will be judged by a panel of 5 adjudicators, who are Miss Alexandra Herman, Miss Caroline Shaw, Mr. David Morton, and Mr. Lucas Hazel. as well as Mr. Luke Barnett. The speaking time for this debate is 4 minutes. A single warning bell will sound at 3 minutes, and a double bell will sound at 4 minutes. If required, a continuous bell will sound 30 seconds after the second bell, indicating that the speaker must conclude their speech. I ask that all mobile phones and other electronic devices be switched off for the duration of the debate. I declare this debate open and call upon Sienna Mason to open the affirmative case.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for today's debate is that digital tracking of children is good parenting. We define the topic as physical digital tracking of children as per the link provided, also known as GPS tracking. Digital tracking is a permission-based tracking device or technology used to see the location of a person or object. Parents can see where their children are, and children can alert their parents at any given time. We define children as any person under the age of 18, and in the context of this debate, the child of the said parents or guardians. Good parenting is defined as raising a child safely and responsibly, while preparing them for the future. We, the Affirmative team, hold an undeniably strong view that this digital tracking is good parenting, and as you will hear today, the arguments for are compelling. As first speaker, I will be looking at how GPS tracking enables all children to be safe, especially for children with special needs. I will be exploring how digital tracking is permission-based and therefore builds trust within the parent-child relationship. Our second speaker will be speaking about how children are not mentally mature and therefore need a parent to help them stay safe. She will also discuss how digital tracking of children will help to encourage them to do the right thing, specifically looking at school attendance. Our third speaker will skillfully rebut and conclude our team's case, leaving you in no doubt that digital tracking of children is good parenting. To my first point, using GPS trackers keeps children safe. GPS tracking is one of the most efficient and simple ways to keep a child safe. For example, a new GPS tracking watch invented by a Brisbane mum allows parents to see the location of their child, set safe zones, and receive alerts when children are in danger. As the watch, like all digital devices, lets the child contact the police or parents quickly, authorities have an advantage into preventing something terrible. To understand the importance of digital tracking, we can look at the tragic case of William Tyrrell. He has still not been found after 5 years. We can only imagine how different the outcome would have been for William had he been wearing a GPS tracker. Obviously, any parent would dread it in the thought of losing a child or having to be in a situation like William's parents. To further understand how bad missing children are, we can look at a Queensland police report. It showed that over 16,000 cases of missing children have been reported since 2016. Despite what the child may do, on the parent's behalf, it is undoubtedly good parenting. As well as helping children in general, it is especially helpful for children with autism. Autism wandering is especially concerning. As Childmind.org said, 35% of families with wandering children stated that the child is never or rarely able to communicate their name, address or phone number, either writing or typing. Obviously, you can see the problem here. Not being able to communicate to get yourself safe is a big issue. So clearly, whether you have a disabled child or not, digital tracking is good parenting as it helps ensure the safety of all children. Now to my subsequent point. A discussion from parent to child will increase trust and flexibility. Professor Craner from Carnegie Mellon University, who studies children's privacy and safety, states that GPS tracking can be a helpful tool as long as only applied after an open conversation between the parent and child. Parenting SA also stresses that it is good parenting to know where your child is and what they are up to, as long as it is done with an upfront conversation. After all, it is a parent's legal responsibility to know what their child is doing and keep them safe. A part of good parenting is the parents realising whether the child doesn't want to be tracked. Remember, GPS tracking is only done after having an open conversation about it. Because of this conversation, it will deter any poor behaviours or actions that will break the trust between parent and child. According to raisingchildren.net, good parenting means that the tracking is only done with permission from the children, so in our case, we the Affirmative team believe that digital tracking of children is good parenting. In conclusion, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, we the Affirmative team strongly believe that digital tracking of children is good parenting. Thank you.
gentlemen, the topic for our debate is that digital tracking of children is good parenting. We agree with most of the affirmative team's definition. However, we would like to add to the definition of digital tracking and good parenting. We would like to add that digital tracking is also the parent's ability to monitor what the child is doing on the internet. And good parenting as being able to enforce boundaries and teaching life lessons such as responsibility and trust through allowing the child to make healthy mistakes. However, we the negative team believe that this statement is undeniably false. Today as first speaker, I will discuss 3 points. I'll talk about the importance of privacy as well as the safety of your child and how it is important for them to develop their independent skills. Our second speaker, Maggie, will be discussing the actuality of good parenting and a trusted parent-child relationship. She will also explain how children will definitely find loopholes in the technology, consequently not succeeding in a positive relationship. Our third speaker will rebut the Summer Hutchins case. But before I begin, we would like to identify some flaws in the affirmative team's argument. The affirmative team said that it's been particularly useful in the disability community. This is true, but only to an extent. Although it has been useful in the disability community, this won't work for children without special needs. This is okay for children with illnesses, such disabilities, but because they have certain needs and other concerns regarding their parents which other children do not have, it has been proven that they aren't useful in our community, because everyone works in different ways, especially children. They also said that it's safe. That statistics is one thing, but there isn't anything out in the world that says it's 100% proven. In this day and age, technology evolves quickly, and if it is constantly evolving and changing, it leaves gaps where the software could be vulnerable, making it easier, as I will explain further in my second point. My first point is that children are entitled to their own privacy. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child stipulates that children have a right to privacy and a right to information, as stated in The Guardian. It is important for parents to respect this. And being a good parent, it is important to establish a level of communication with your child. And as research shows, adolescents who feel that their parents have invaded their privacy go on to have high levels of conflict at home, as stated in the New York Times. Andy Finn, an IT professor at the University of Plymouth, said that these children are growing up in a generation that doesn't know about privacy because of such technologies. Sadly though, we aren't doing much to change this, even though we could. My second point is that digital tracking is more vulnerable to hacking. By accepting the terms and conditions of tracking apps and providing private details during setup, parents create a single space with all their personal information accessible to hackers. According to a report from the Norwegian Consumer Council, through excessive testing, it was found that GPS watch models aimed at children in particular are susceptible to being hacked. The hacker could breach numerous promised safety regulations easily, as well as potentially track the user's location. Parents think digital tracking is protecting their child, but in reality, it can be putting them at greater risk. My third point is that we all have a quote about learning from our mistakes, but if as parents we place ourselves in a position to stop our children before the mistake is made, when are they ever going to learn? So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, parents today allow themselves to do things that they would never have tolerated from their own parents. Actions such as reading private journals would have been absolutely off limits, and yet this is exactly what many parents decide to do digitally today. I also leave you to ponder this thought. If you give a man a fish, he will be hungry tomorrow. If you teach a man how to fish, he will be richer forever. Thank you.
To continue the affirmative case, please welcome Isha Jain.
that the digital tracking of children is good parenting. We, the Affirmative team, hold a very strong view that this is true. The opposition has misled you into thinking that tracking children is an invasion of privacy. This is mistaken because, first of all, our first speaker has already mentioned that the use of GPS tracking will only be applied after an open conversation between the child and parent. Regardless, the child shouldn't be hiding secrets from their parents because it is the parent's legal responsibility to know where the child is and make sure that they are safe. The opposition has also tried to tell you that GPS tracking will not enforce safety. We understand that having a watch doesn't ensure 100% safety, however nothing does. Just like going swimming at a beach, you can stay between the flags, but there's always that risk that something may happen. There are no disadvantages to having a GPS tracker, only positive implications and better parenting. After all, a watch is better than no watch at all. Our first speakers addressed that GPS tracking enhances safety, especially amongst those living with disabilities, and is a really useful tool when applied after an open conversation. Today I'll be talking to you about safety and responsibility based on the different life stages of a child, as well as good parenting at these stages. Now to my first point, that for young and vulnerable children, digital tracking will add an extra layer of protection. According to the National Centre for Biotechnology Information, the maturation of the adolescent brain is only fully developed at the age of 25, and therefore means that young children are vulnerable to making poorer decisions and will need support and protection from their parents. Furthermore, the Department of Education state that young children often want to try new things for the fun of it, but don't yet have the ability to think of all the risks and how to keep safe. Remember, we are only tracking after an upfront conversation, as our first speaker has already highlighted. With the support of digital track watches, parents have the capability to ensure safety, which is a large factor of good parenting. Now to my subsequent point, which is that digital tracking is a deterrent to children skipping school, in particular adolescents. Parents not knowing the whereabouts of their children is having far-reaching and detrimental impacts on their children and their valued education. According to a Sydney Morning Herald report published in 2019, nearly 13% of Australian school students miss at least one day of school a fortnight. It's important to keep in mind that just because the child has a track watch doesn't mean that the parents are keeping an eye out 24/7. The use of a GPS track watch would act as a deterrent to steer the teenager toward more positive choices and rather make sure they're doing what's right and only travelling to places they know they are allowed to go, and for the correct purposes. Clearly, GPS tracking will have better educational outcomes, which means better parenting. This leads me to my final point, that as the child grows older, GPS tracking can slowly evolve from a young child to suit the needs of an adolescent in a two-way communication of safety, and does not have to be limited to just a watch. As a parent, would you really want to be leaving your 15-year-old at a party without knowing their location? What if you want to pick them up, but you have a car crash on the way? Do you really want to leave them waiting at the gate without them knowing your location? What happens then? Good parenting within tracking evolves as the child grows older and could mean moving away from just a watch. This could be Google's Family Link or Apple's Find My Friends, which enables parents to also share their own location with the child, thereby modelling good behaviour and encouraging communication and shared responsibility, which, as RaisingChildren.net states, models good parenting. So, in conclusion, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, we, the Affirmative team, forcefully believe that the digital tracking of children is good parenting. In the earlier years, GPS tracking is more of a tool for enhancing safety during adolescence as a deterrent to children skipping school, and as the child grows, the adaptability of a GPS tracker will evolve to suit the needs. Tracking towards good parenting. Thank you.
To continue the negative case, please welcome Madeline Danji.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for today's debate is that digital tracking of children is good parenting. As the negative team, we know this statement is irrefutably false. Our first speaker, Anya, discussed the entitlement children have to privacy, their right to be independent, and how they should be able to learn from their mistakes. As second speaker, I will address the reality of good parenting, the importance of trusting relationships, and I will also speak to you about children finding loopholes to avoid being caught. Before I elaborate, I will first point out some obvious flaws in the affirmative team's case. The first speaker has stated that digital tracking has been particularly useful in children with special needs, particularly the autism community. Whilst this is true, autistic children make up 1.7% of all children. This leaves no reason whatsoever for the other 98% of children to be tracked, because as we will elaborate on, it does not help them grow and develop in any way. Not only that, but there is a whole medical field dedicated to children with conditions such as this, and considering that parents and specialised nurses and carers keep a watchful eye on them in person, there is little evidence to validate this point. We also made it clear in our definition that tracking is also on the internet, and this can be done in secret. My first point will discuss what experts agree is good parenting. A parent's job, according to Psychology Today, is to provide an interface with the world that eventually prepares a child for complete independence and the ability to pursue whatever path they choose. If your child is able to become independent, it means that you have provided them with the belief that they are competent and capable of taking care of themselves. An excellent example of good parenting, as written on Psychology Today. Parenting includes effectively communicating with your child, teaching them responsibility and independence, and most importantly, building up a trustful relationship. Digital tracking teaches a child none of this. In fact, many surveys show that as a result of tracking, underage anxiety has presented itself in 87% of children being tracked. This leads me to the point that trust in particular is affected when a child is being monitored. According to underage psychologist Lisa DeMoore, tracking will in fact damage the relationship as well as causing stress and confusion from both parties. She quotes, "Parents can find themselves in a tricky situation if they are trying, as they should be, to build trust with their teenagers. It may be hard for kids to feel that they are trusted, and hard for parents to trust their kids when they collect so much information about them. A distrustful relationship is not worth tracking your child in any way, and does not show the qualities of a good parent." The Australian E-Safety Commission also suggests that instead of tracking children, which will weaken a trustful relationship, they quote, "Talking regularly and openly with your child about what they are doing online will help to develop and build trust." This links back to good parenting, as communication is key to teaching a child to take responsibility for themselves and their actions. This leads me to my third point, that device tracking can cause sly behaviour from the child without parent knowing. When being digitally tracked by a parent, children as young as 7 years old have found loopholes such as deleting search history, leaving GPS trackers at home, or even disabling them, according to ABC News. Screen time, an app used to restrict internet usage in underage people, and an article from Ed Hardy, child and adolescent psychologist, states that, and I quote, "Screen time feature lets parents monitor and limit how much time their children spend on their iPhone and iPad. However, it is not a panacea for good parenting, as even small children can find workarounds. Screen time is no substitute for good parenting, because you simply need to teach children how to make the right choices for themselves. So, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we have no doubt that it is not good parenting to digitally monitor children. Trust between parent and child can be easily broken and difficult to rebuild, and tracking a child will simply cause them to use other methods to avoid being caught. When a parent doesn't successfully teach their child to communicate and make their own responsible decisions, it would be hard for the child to build relationships off of screens and be independent in their choices. And I'll leave you with one final thought. Is robbing a child of their independent abilities really considered good parenting? Thank you.
and gentlemen, Madam Chairman and Timekeeper. Today's topic is that digital tracking of children is good parenting. As you have heard from our first and second speaker, digital tracking is undisputedly good parenting. In my speech today, I will rebut the opposing case and summarise our argument. I will start with the rebuttal, enlightening you on some misleadings in the opposition's case. The opposition has disagreed with our definition, saying that digital tracking may be online, but as per the link provided on the Debating SA website, it is defined as digital tracking, as GPS tracking. Furthermore, the definition provided by our first speaker is much more reasonable. Therefore, as heard by a team case, digital tracking is good parenting. The opposition has also tried to say that digital tracking will not provide safety for all people. I believe they have misunderstood us. We said it was especially effective for people with special needs. It is still applicable for all people. The opposition has stated that digitally tracking one's child is discouraging them to be independent. Realistically, however, it is the other way around. Tracking your child's locations encourages them to be more independent, as it steers away from their stereotypical helicopter parenting. Instead of feeling obliged to constantly shadow and follow their child, having a tracker gives a parent peace of mind, knowing they know where their child is. Due to this, parents are more likely to allow their children to go out and explore the world for themselves, strengthening that message of independence the opposition is pushing so hard for. The opposition has also said that the child could just elude the parent, put the device somewhere else. But this doesn't mean it's not good parenting on the parent's behalf. The parent has done the best they can to build trust and independence in the relationship while keeping their child safe, which means it is not good parenting. Which means it's not good parenting, but rather good parenting. According to our opposition, having parents or guardians digitally track their child is breaking the trust between them. This, however, is ludicrous. Having parents digitally track their children only increases the trust in the relationship. This is due to the fact that the parent has confirmation the child is doing the right thing, and it dispels any negative doubt and enhances the trust. In the case of a child may be doing the wrong thing, the parent can support them to do the right thing next time, to help them learn from their mistake, which you would have heard in the negative's case. Meaning, digital tracking is good parenting, and does not break the trust, but rather enhances it. Our opposition has also said that digital tracking will breach the privacy of the child, but how can this be the case when it is a parent's legal responsibility to know where their child is? As per the Australian Family Law Act of 1975, parents are obliged to provide safety and support of the child. That means it is perfectly within the law for a parent to know where their loved one is, without it being a breach of privacy, and therefore digital tracking is good parenting. Now to my summary. Digital tracking is good parenting. As heard by our first speaker, digital tracking adds a significant layer of safety to parenting. She also showed how digital tracking is done after an open conversation, which enhances trust between the parent and child. Because of the importance of safety and trust, digital tracking is clearly good parenting. Our second speaker also displayed how children are not as emotionally mature and will need their parental support, which can be given through digital tracking. She also discussed how digital tracking will deter poor behaviours, namely skipping school. Because of the importance of education and parental support, it is clear digital tracking of children is good parenting. Tracking towards good parenting. Thank you.
To conclude the negative case and this morning's this debate, I call upon Helena Newman.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chairman. The topic for this debate is that digital tracking of children is good parenting. We, the Negative team, believe that this statement is undoubtedly false. Today's third speaker, I would like to point out some flaws in our opposition's team case. Now, throughout this whole debate, the Affirmative team has only shown two things: that kids can't be trusted and safety. I will break this down in detail during my speech. First off, we would like to make it clear to you that the website provided by Debating SA is only an example from where we can further begin researching. From this research, we have found that digital tracking does include anything that is digital, such as phones and computers being tracked. The first Affirmative speaker has said that digital tracking of children is good parenting because it keeps them safe. This is completely false. As our first speaker has talked about, technology absolutely cannot be trusted these days. There's been talk for ages surrounding around the lack of cybersecurity and hackers. What's stopping your child from also being tracked by potential hackers, stalkers? The list is endless. According to an article from The Guardian, over 200,000 people get hacked per year. Let me repeat, ladies and gentlemen, 200,000 people. What's to say that your child will be included in one of those 200,000 people? The unfortunate reality is that there is nothing proven which is safe from hackers and any online criminal activity, leading us to yet another point, which is that digital tracking is misleading, which the first speaker has talked about. Yes, parents might feel satisfied knowing that their child is safe, but this will come at a cost, which is the big possibility of people other than you, the parents, accessing the locations and information of your children, putting them in danger. To be frank, it is not good parenting whatsoever if you're risking your child's safety just to spy on them. This speaker has also said that it builds trust. Digital tracking is nothing but a fix-up of a fix-up. According to opposition's definition, that children under the age of 18, well, you shouldn't even be online at that age. Children should be outside enjoying the sunshine, not inside on their devices. Because of the lack of good parenting, such as teaching children communication and trust, as a result, we now have to find solutions, such as digital tracking to cover up for our mistakes. In fact, digital tracking is like a temporary fix to decades of bad parenting, which could have been fixed when the child was younger. Family tension shouldn't even need to be a thing if good parenting had occurred. And the results show all around the world. How do you think what's happened around the world? The lack of trust and communication. And the unfortunate consequences are based purely on bad parenting. As parents, we should be striving to create a new generation of kids, and that will have long-term effects, having no wars and a peaceful world. This speaker said that children should have no secrets with their parents or with friends is okay. This is completely false. As children, we make mistakes daily. You can't say that children should have no secrets with their parents, because we all know that's not going to happen, as much as parents would want. Here's the reality though. Keeping secrets from parents means that a trust is broken between the parent and the child. Because of that broken trust, parents are able to have the opportunity to teach the child how to fix their mistakes and move on. How can good parenting work if there's nothing wrong to parent? Children need to face failures and challenges in their life before they become successful. And good parenting allows the child to grow, but also challenge and confront them in situations where they are in the wrong. As a result, parents tracking their kids, children only feel secure when being digitally monitored because parents have taught them that society is dangerous, even when the chances of something going wrong is so low that it almost never happens. How's good parenting if you haven't taught your child the concept of strange danger? The Australian E-Sector Commission also suggests that instead of tracking children, which will weaken this trustful relationship, they quote, talking regularly and openly with your child about what they do online will help them build trust. As part of growing up, children need to have some freedom in order to thrive in life. Taking away that freedom by tracking your child is then taking away that child's childhood. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chairman, we the Negative team have made it evident that digital tracking of children is not good parenting. Our first speaker, Anya, has explained about the self-development and growth needed for children in order to thrive into successful human beings. Our second speaker, Maddie, has talked about the outline and trust, communication needed between parents and children. Yes, the digital world is evolving rapidly with many great inventions that is beneficial to our future, but no amount of technology can ever replace good parenting. I leave you with the message. It is not what you do for your children, but what you have taught them to do for themselves that will make them successful human beings. Thank you.
representative of the adjudication panel to come forward and award the debate.
Before I announce tonight's results, I just want to thank these lovely people for joining in this competition, really getting involved and presenting such a wonderful debate today. I'd like to thank the parents for coming because it's always nice to debate to a full group. This morning, we worked on a panel of 5 adjudicators. We all came to a decision independent of each other. And today we won't give any personal feedback, we'll just announce the result. So today's decision was a split decision of 3-2. And the winner of the grand final was the Affirmative team from Glenunga International High School. Congratulations.
I call upon a member of the runner-up team from St. Dominic's Priory College to give a vote of thanks.
We would like to thank our coaches, Ms. Mason and Ms. Mueller, for their advice throughout the season. We would also like to thank our parents for supporting us in our debating journey. Thank you, Glenunga, for such an amazing debate and being an amazing competition. Thank you to the audience for listening attentively and turning up today so we don't have to talk to empty seats. Thank you to the adjudication panel for judging this debate and the many other adjudicators leading up to this final. Our teammates for supporting us and giving their time throughout the season. And finally, Sister Jill, who gave us the opportunity to be speaking here today. Thank you.
I call upon a member of the winning team from Glenunga International High School to second that vote of thanks.
We, the Affirmative team, Glenunga International High School Orange, thank the chairman, timekeeper, panel of adjudicators and St. Dominic's Priory College for a very enjoyable debate. We'd like to warmly thank our coach, Mr. Turk, family and friends for their appreciated support throughout the competition. We would also like to thank the Government of South Australia for this opportunity to debate at Parliament House. Finally, we'd like to thank Debating SA and the volunteers helping to raise a younger generation of debaters. Thank you.